members, including the Honorable Farah and the Honorable Member for Kieni, the Honorable Shieni, who represents the people of Kieni, and the Honorable Farah, who is our Deputy Speaker, and is always, when he's on the seat, is shouting order, affirming order in the House. But surprisingly, when he's not on the seat, he's behaving in a manner likely to be described as disorderly. I was attracting the attention, Honorable Speaker, so that they may listen, because the Honorable Farah's constituents have a problem with power on the grid, and that he knows. And part of the problems have emanated from people vandalizing transformers, vandalizing lines on the grid because they are looking for aluminum. Others are looking for copper or copper and aluminum alloys. And therefore, we want to have a special license so that if you deal with copper and aluminum to stem the rising cases of vandalism of transformers and other state or public infrastructure, Honorable Speaker, you will see even aluminum guardrails on our roads that are there to secure us on the roads in case of accidents, Honorable Speaker. People vandalize these things and go and smelt for a song things that are public infrastructure, Honorable Speaker. And you remember when the former President Uhuru Kenyatta was commissioning the SGR Phase 2, you remember him swearing in God's name that he will cite the execution of anybody who vandalizes that line. But you will be surprised, Honorable Speaker, parts of that line are still being vandalized, especially the rails, the guardrails along the corridor are being vandalized. Therefore, there must also be penalties. And now the amendments that we are doing here are enhancing penalties, so that if you are caught having vandalized any public infrastructure, Honorable Speaker, in the name of acquiring scrap metal, whether it is aluminum, whether it is copper, then you will pay very hefty fines and penalties that will deter vandalism and, of course, ensure that those who are trading in scrap metal are trading in scrap metal that is legally acquired, not vandalized from public infrastructure, like in our power sector, our road sector, and other public utilities, Honorable Speaker. What he has to go through as compared to me, who will move a mere 15 kilometers to Kikuyu and back. The farthest corner of my constituency, I think, is about 40 kilometers from here. The farthest corner where I border with Kajiado County and one tip of Narok County. But, Honorable Speaker, you know, even as we engage in other debates, including the one man, one woman, one vote, we must be cognizant of the kind of country that we all live in and appreciate each other as Kenyans. It is God who placed us in our various destinations where we call home. And nothing makes the Honorable Farah or the Honorable Lesuda not come to live in Kikuyu. Today I represent a constituency just outside Nairobi, and because of the proximity to Nairobi, we are hosting Kenyans from all walks of life, from Garissa, from Mandera, some from Tiaty, some from Western Kenya, some from the far north, as far as Marsabit County. And they are Kenyans who have every right to live in Kikuyu and in Kiambu. Honorable Speaker, I was telling somebody yesterday, in another 20 years or 10 years from today, I may not be a member of parliament for Kikuyu. I do not know who will be the member of parliament for Kikuyu. But any child who has grown up in Kikuyu and knows Kikuyu, irrespective of where they come from, can be elected as a member of parliament in Kikuyu. I will not be surprised, Honorable Speaker, if at one time the governor position in Kiambu goes to somebody who does not originally hail from Kiambu. That is the beauty for democracy, and that is the kind of country we want to build. Today, we have elected a president who many believed that there are communities that would never vote for a president from the Rift Valley. But we elected a president on the basis of what he espoused, what he stood for, not on the basis of where he came from. That is why, Honorable Speaker, elsewhere we have taken time, painfully, to stand for what is right, not what is politically expedient and what you think is politically popular in your village, but what is right and good for Kenya. I said yesterday, Honorable Speaker, Kenya is now playing at a global stage. We are globalizing our country. We cannot afford to dwell on village matters now. We cannot villagize, if there is such a word as villagizing. If there is globalizing, please let us not villagize our country. We have a beautiful country. A beautiful country that we cannot afford to villagize. A beautiful country where our president has placed on a global stage. And it is that globalization that we should be focusing on, not villagizing a beautiful country like Kenya. And I want to plead with all of you as members of parliament, please, as you are told by the president on Madaraka Day, you are bestowed with a very dignified position as members of the National Assembly of Kenya. National Assembly, that's why you're called MNAs, members of the National Assembly. Not members of some village assemblies, not members of your county assemblies. You are members of the National Assemblies to espouse that what is of national good and the greater public good in the nation of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, with those many remarks, because I can see I'm short of time, let me just close by saying that there is a famous saying, which I could quote, that says you can't build a kingdom with someone who still wants the attention from the village. We will not build our nation if we still want attention from our villages. Let us build a nation where we need and seek attention of the nation of Kenya, not the attention of your villagers. With that, I second.
Thank you. So, the Honorable Ichung'wah, did I hear you say 1 man, 1 woman, or 1 man, 1 shilling? What did you say? 1 man, 1 woman? Not 1 shilling.
Honorable Speaker, I think I said 1 man,
1 woman,
1 woman, because you know I am a man of a Christian faith. I am married to a beautiful lady from Nyeri County, and you know what they say of our beautiful ladies from Nyeri County, and therefore have to keep re-emphasizing 1 man, 1 woman, 1 vote.
Thank you. Okay. Honorable members, I want to propose the question that the statute law.
Nobody is going to accept to become a second-class citizen in his own country or a third-class citizen. These are recipes of a period of time for revolutions. For revolutions. So when I see today people talking about 1 mile, 1 vote, 1 man, 1 woman, 1 vote, absolute nonsense. You can't get any more dimwit than to advocate for such petty, base, literally, and frankly, things that you would never want to be associated with as a nationalist. And then somebody like that would want to become a president in this country. You think you're going to become a president and people are going to allow you to come and run the country and you take them like they're your slaves or part of your colony? No. They will revolt against you, and there will be a revolution in the country. There were going to be civil wars. It's a recipe for a conflict. And when that happens, there is no guarantee who is going to remain in the country, by the way. In Rwanda, similar things happened. When the ethnicity of every Rwandan had to be put onto their ID cards where they were called Tutsi, Hutu. And the Tutsis were only 15%. They endured marginalization. They endured victimization from the time we got independence from the Belgians until 1994, including pogroms, including trying to wipe them out from the face of the earth and calling them cockroaches. What eventually happened? What eventually happened? They fought their way through. They kicked out the oppressors from the country, and that 15% has had the reins of this kind of Rwanda from 1994 until today. If you read the history of Uganda, a country like Uganda, and you see the kind of things that used to be done to the Banyankole, the Bahima, the Bachiga, those people of the West, the Batoro, because the conflict used to be between the Northerners and the center, the Baganda, and what you call the Northerners who are basically Nilotics. Whether it was the Kabaka side or it was Milton Obote, Brigadier General Okero, Tito, and all those ones. But eventually, when they could not endure, somebody from the north comes in, he gives them hell. Somebody from the other side comes in, he gives them hell. Basically, they were the punching bag for everybody. Now, in a sense, the minorities in this country cannot accept to become a punching bag for anybody, regardless of whether you consider yourself a majority or not. Mr. Speaker, can I beg you to just give me a few more minutes, like 5 minutes?
You'll have 2.
I have 3. No, thank you.
I said you'll have 2.
Mr. Speaker, and it's precisely in line with that. Let's read history. If you think you can enjoy life, you can have tarmac roads everywhere, you can have water everywhere, and the others are going to live like they are in, the Red Indians of the olden days. You know what I mean? And the Maasais are still going to be all their lives in shukas, and basically, they're there as a tourist attraction, nothing more. And you don't think that they're any more equal to you, then it doesn't work, Mr. Speaker. It creates that kind of a revolution. And the country will go to hell. So we are lucky we have not had a violent conflict or a civil war in this country. The day it happens, we've had it all around us. We've had it in Uganda, it's there in Sudan, it was there in South Sudan, it was there in Somalia, it's now happening in Ethiopia in a manner you cannot imagine. It's happened everywhere except Tanzania. The only neighbor that has not gone through that is Tanzania. Why? Tanzanians. You look at the history of that country. The first leader of Tanzania was a Zanaki. The people are no more than 100,000 population. The second leader, Mkapa, Nyerere was that, comes from a small minority in the south. The third leader, remind me the name, was also coming from a small, he comes from Bagamoyo, he's a Kikwete, Jakaya Kikwete. He's a Mkwere. The Kwere is about 30,000. Suluhu, as we have right now, you can imagine. Magufuli from small, you can only have a nation. The only guarantee for the future stability and existence of a country called Kenya is that kind of politics. Is that kind of politics. Not the politics in which you say, I'm going to use the impurity of my own, what they call numbers, tyranny of numbers, to suppress everybody else. 1 minute, Sika, any chance?
You're going to need 30 or 1 hour? Okay.
Okay, thank you. You can't have that. You can't have that. Because these are men. A man, I am a man. Man is a mankind. I'm not talking, I'm a man, I'm a woman. That's what the African Americans were fighting for when they were going for emancipation way back in the South. They just said, I am a man. If you remember in Selma, Montgomery, and all that. Now, for you to think that any community is any less worth than you, and we all came from colonialism, we came from all that slavery and everything else, we should know better than that. We should know better than that, because a small minority whites colonized us for 70 years and subjugated us. You get my point? They were removed, both by our own efforts and the global effort itself. Let's unite this country by having fairness, equity, equality, more than anything else, equity. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Member for Lojoro Rock.